Cambodia's ancient temples are sights to behold, visited by millions. But once you step inside, you notice something's amiss. Chambers have been ransacked, precious antiquities plundered. Everywhere you look, there are empty pedestals where sandstone gods, kings and Buddhas once stood.
It's not like 10 statues just went out on a truck one day. We're talking thousands.
During decades of conflict, looters raided these revered temples and smuggled their statues out to shady international art dealers. Now, an epic global treasure hunt is underway to track down what was taken and bring it home.
This is the spot.
Wow.
Temple by temple, pedestal by pedestal, the search is on for 4,000 stolen statues.
This is one of the greatest art heists in history.
Prized pieces are coming back from museums and private collections around the world.
This belongs to Cambodia. This is Cambodian culture.
And investigators now have Australia in their sights.
In this episode of Foreign Correspondent, we'll crisscross Cambodia, searching for evidence of looted treasures, and we'll bring you the exclusive inside story of how the National Gallery of Australia was conned by Southeast Asia's most notorious art thief.
Away from the busy tourist trail, deep in the jungle of northern Cambodia, is Koh Kay. In the 10th century, these ancient temples were the capital of the great Khmer Empire. But today, Koh Kay is one of the country's most looted sites. I've been given access to the Cambodian operation to identify, trace and reclaim the country's missing treasures.
We have experts on stone statues, on bronze statues, historians, anthropologists, conservationists, lawyers. It's an amazing group of talented people.
American lawyer Bradley Gordon has been appointed by the Cambodian government to lead the restitution team.
So our mission today, we're focused on this statue here, right?
They're investigating the theft of one of Koh Kay's greatest masterpieces, the Hindu god Shiva and goddess Uma riding a Nandi ox.
We know that it was here. We need to find out where it went to, and we really need to bring it home.
Senior investigator Kuntia Chuon is trying to find someone who remembers the statue. She shows this guard a photo taken at the temple in the 1930s.
He will show us where that he have seen before.
And he remembers exactly where this was?
Yes.
Okay.
He showed us.
He leads us to the spot where he remembers seeing the statue when he was a teenager in the 1970s.
Does he remember when it was stolen?
He doesn't know when the looted from here. He doesn't know. Okay.
With the location confirmed, the team begins searching for any fragments of the ox statue that might have been left behind by the looters.
Where did it go? The looters were in a rush. They were not precise operations. Most of the time, they left the pedestals behind. They left arms behind, they left legs, they left ears. And if we can find any remnants, we can put that in the documentation we put together for the evidence. We can show it came from this temple. That's very powerful.
See, this is the fragment of the leg. You see, like the around it, and have some decoration, that means a part of the leg.
Yes.
Over here.
It would seem to be very similar.
Similar.
Yeah.
It is very interesting. I can say my heart fall in love with this project because what I think, it is very important for my country.
When you look at broken statues, how does it make you feel?
I feel so upset. The statue had the spirit inside. I keep the question, why do people do that?
The looting of Cambodia's cultural heritage stretches back to French colonial times.
Taking statues and putting them into museums, that started with the French.
The trade carried on after independence in 1953.
In the 60s, heads were going out. The heads were the easiest to take out first, and then they would come back later and get the bodies.
Looting continued as Cambodia was drawn into the Vietnam War by the late 1960s. And it didn't stop as the country entered the darkest chapter in its history, the brutal reign of Pol Pot's Khmer Rouge.
There was a horrendous genocide. Cambodia lost at least a third of its population, if not more.
In 1979, the Khmer Rouge was overthrown by the Vietnamese, but it continued to control land near the Thai border, including temple-rich areas like Ko Kay.
In 79, we see gangs forming and looting, and the Khmer Rouge were involved. And it would be funding their purchase of weapons. We know that there were other armies involved, a lot of different factions, all smelling money.
As conflict raged on, the illegal trade boomed.
By the 80s, you start to see a lot of statues taken out. And then in the 90s, it reaches fever pitch. And you had armed conflict in the country. 98, you just hitting the very end of the Khmer Rouge period. We're talking recent history. This is within my lifetime, your lifetime.
Thank you.
Khmer statues had become big-ticket items for art dealers and must-have pieces for private collectors and museums hungry for exotic pieces from the Far East.
It's very accurate to describe them as blood antiquities.
Now the restitution team is picking up the pieces.
It's an epic mess that we are trying to clean up. It's thousands of crime sites.
The team estimates there are 2,000 stolen statues in private collections and another 2,000 in 105 international museums. Are there any in Australia?
Yeah, there are many. There are many in Australia. And I think when we start to really dig down to what's in Australia, we're going to be surprised that some of the greatest national treasures of Cambodia ended up there.
We're heading southeast across the mighty Mekong River to Bom Khmum province on the Vietnamese border.
We've been investigating 3 statues.
The team's taking me to meet a man who has information about 3 bronze Buddhist statues stolen then sold to the National Gallery of Australia.
The National Gallery thought they were from Vietnam. We actually found a man here in Cambodia who knows these statues, and he actually dug them up.
Wow, he got them out of the ground.
He got them out of the ground, and we're going to take you to meet him today.
Bom Khmum is home to Cambodia's Cham people, descendants of the ancient Champa kingdom, a once Buddhist community that converted to Islam. This is the former looter we've come to meet. The team's codenamed him the Falcon. Do you recognise any of these 3 pieces?
So
that's about $25 US. Could you take me to the place where you dug this up?
ជួនដល់ឥឡូវបានទៅឥឡូវទៅមកណា
The Champa Kingdom existed from the 2nd to around the 19th century, a vast empire that, at its peak, controlled most of what's now central and southern Vietnam and, at times, parts of Cambodia. Locals believe one of the last Champa kings was buried nearby and that his treasures were buried here too.
អាយុខ្ញុំកាលនឹងគេមកនាំជីកនឹងគេចង់និយាយថាគេមកនាំជីកនឹងប្រហែលជាអាយុ 35 ក្រពេកប្រទេសយើងកាលនឹងវាមាននៅសង្គ្រាមនៅបន្តនៅឡើយទេ
The Falcon came digging here in 1994 when it was dense jungle. Today, one distinctive tree remains, helping him remember where he found the statue.
This is the spot.
Are you sure they come from this field?
ឈ្មោះវាខុសគ្នាអានេះខ្ញុំទទួលដឹងឮថាតំបន់នេះបើថាក្រៅពីតំបន់ហ្នឹងខ្ញុំអត់ជូនលោកស្រីមកទេខ្ញុំក្តៅ
How did you know the statue was right here?
មកទៅនឹងស្ងាត់ដល់កាលណាយើងជីកទៅជំរឿននេះវានៅទាបហើយណាវាចិត្តដល់ដីចិត្តដល់កន្លែងវាដាក់នឹងមកទៅនេះផត
The Falcon worked with another looter codenamed the Lion. He died in 2021 but confessed to looting the other 2 charm statues from the same field.
These statues are now in Australia at the National Gallery of Australia, which paid $1.5 million for them. What do you think of that?
ប្រមាណទៅ អញ្ចឹងតែការអ្នករោគាត់នៅពាក្យស្លោកគេថាគាត់នៅបានបេះទេអ្នកផ្លេះគេបានស៊ី
The way the looters tell it, all 3 charm bronzes were packed up and smuggled across the Thai border to be sold.
ព្រោះខ្ញុំស្ដាយណាស់ខ្ញុំខំគោះយកទៅលក់ដល់ប្រទេសក្រៅបាទ And like so many of Cambodia's stolen treasures, they ended up in the hands of one man. This is where we find the next link in the chain, a bodybuilding contest in Thailand. The man handing out the trophies here is Douglas Latchford, a wealthy British businessman who moved to Bangkok in his 20s and rose to become the #1 dealer in stolen Cambodian antiquities.
Douglas Latchford was deeply involved in the looting networks that we've been investigating here in Cambodia. This is somebody who was obsessed with these statues. He didn't care about how he was getting them or where they were coming from. He found his way into the auction houses, into Sotheby's and Christie's, and into the museums, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the British Museum. All these institutions that have been around for a long time, have a very credible reputations, and he was able to sell to them for millions and millions of dollars. He was an incredible con man.
The restitution team has recovered around 300 antiquities, the majority linked to Latchford.
Mazoe, in this gallery is the Duryodhana. This is the statue that brought down Douglas Latchford.
The Duryodhana now takes pride of place at the National Museum in Phnom Penh. It was looted in 1972 from Kok Kay and, after decades with a private collector, resurfaced in 2011 for auction at Sotheby's in New York.
U.S. government moves. They got some information that the feet were back here in Cambodia. They seized the statue, and the statue ends up being returned to Cambodia.
And you can see that it's a very precise match there with the feet, can't you?
Yes, it's a perfect match.
US investigators alleged Latchford knew it was stolen when he bought it and that he helped forge documentation to get it into the UK. Latchford denied ever owning the Duryodhana, but the case put him firmly on the radar of US prosecutors.
And when the heat was on, did he stop dealing? What did he do?
No, he continued. He was an addict. He really showed no remorse.
In 2019, he was charged by US authorities with the trafficking of Cambodian antiquities, but died in 2020 before facing trial. Latchford may have escaped justice, but investigations didn't stop.
So it was in 5 or 6 pieces here.
Brad and Kuntia have returned to Kokay, where there's been a breakthrough in the case of the missing ox. This man, codenamed the Jungle Cat, was a broker, and he claims his gang stole the statue from the temple in the 90s. The sculpture was in pieces by the time it was smuggled across the border into Thailand. The Jungle Cat tried to repair it for sale. The Jungle Cat recalls he had 3 potential buyers, including Douglas Latchford.
Yeah, he had
You
told
met
him.
him? Did you meet him in person?
Yeah, he met him.
And who did he sell it to? After Latchford, she's number 2. What we learned today from Jungle Cat was she was the second most important collector, dealer of stolen Cambodian antiquities.
Second after Douglas Latchford.
Second after Douglas Latchford. That's huge.
The Jungle Cat's tip leads the restitution team to Thailand's capital, Bangkok, the gateway for stolen antiquities from Cambodia. The teams managed to track down the Thai dealer who bought the stolen ox.
It was in her shop a number of years ago.
They've given her the code name Poison Ivy, and Brad's hoping she'll talk.
I just hope we find her today.
So how are you feeling?
A bit apprehensive, but excited, because this is really important. She's one of the most critical people that we're tracking at the moment. We've heard a lot about her. We think that she might know a tremendous amount about Douglas Latchford and about the whole trade in Khmer antiquities.
Hopefully she talks to you.
Yeah, I hope so.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Brad wants to meet her alone so she doesn't get spooked. After 2 hours, he returns with a cardboard box.
They gave me everything on the shelf. That was Khmer. Everything. As a gift to Cambodia.
Unbelievable.
Look, I met Poison Ivy.
Oh. You met her?
You
met her? He was in the shop.
I explained who I was. I said, you know, I work for the Cambodian government. I come here today. And I said, could we take photos of these? She said, you can have them all.
What did she say about the ox?
So she admitted that she handled it. It was quite extraordinary. She didn't deny. She said, look, this went through many hands. I was just one of them. I got a commission, and it's long gone.
Did she tell you who did she sell it to?
She said she can't remember. Should we open it?
Yeah.
Okay.
These fragments were mounted as ornaments, but will go home as gods.
You think it's favorite? Look at that.
I feel emotional that I have chance to touch this statue. Good result of he talking and get all of this returned back to our country. So it is amazing. It is good days for our team.
I think we'll go talk to the Thai authorities and see if we can get them to do something.
In Phnom Penh, the investigation into the bronze charm statues sitting in the National Gallery of Australia is ramping up. Douglas Latchford's family has started handing over his files, and Brad's keen to show me.
We got thousands and thousands of emails, invoices, receipts. They're all on this hard drive. Wow.
And were there any documents in the files to do with the charm statues that are in the National Gallery of Australia?
One incredible email we found has this map. This is the area that we've been looking at in terms of where the looters said they found these statues. Then we found documents to do with the offer to Australia. So we see in 2011, he sends a letter to whom it may concern saying, I'm offering for sale to the National Gallery of Australia. He's found his buyer. You know, they're paying $1.5 million for these 3 statues.
So these documents prove the NGA bought directly from Latchford?
I understand they were under a non-disclosure agreement, a secrecy agreement, and they haven't put that information out there. What's sitting on our files now is a clear indication that Douglas Latchford was the seller.
Did the NGA conduct due diligence in buying these statues?
I don't think they followed the standards they should have in terms of international museums. You know, you combine it together, the map, the testimony of the looters, the information we have from the emails and so on. I believe strongly that these pieces are from Cambodia. They're stolen. They should not have been bought by the NGA.
Based on the evidence collected, the Cambodian government's requesting the return of the charm bronzes from the National Gallery of Australia. It also suspects the gallery has up to 20 stolen Khmer statues.
Our priority is to bring them back home.
Pen Monimakara is the Secretary of State for the Ministry of Culture.
The National Gallery of Australia needs to review their acquisition process. And they need to have a look at their checks and balances.
What would you say to international museums and private collectors around the world who have Cambodian antiquities now?
The Cambodian people has never given permission for all of these statues to be taken now. They belong to the Cambodian people. For us, they are not just art. These are gods and kings. Our kings and our God is not meant to be their table display.
These gods are being returned to a country that's at peace now. But for many here, life remains a struggle. Prime Minister Hun Sen, a former Khmer Rouge commander, has ruled with an iron fist for 38 years. He's announced he'll hand over power to his son later this month, but will still be advising him.
The Hun Sen government does have problems with corruption and a worsening human rights record, and there'll be some people out there who say we shouldn't be returning statues to a regime like this. What do you say to that?
It's not so much about doing something that's just for the powerful people. This is doing something for the people across the board. I believe it's appropriate to be helping Cambodia to get back its cultural heritage. On the human rights side, I think it's also appropriate to be asking hard questions. I don't think other nations can hold hostage cultural heritage items to try to get changes in human rights, but I think they can raise those issues, and I think they can push governments to change their behavior. And I think they can criticize these governments at the same time as returning something that's okay.
"7,000 kilometres away from Phnom Penh, I've come with the restitution team to Canberra, to the National Gallery of Australia."
Oh, we made it.
Yeah. Welcome to the National Gallery.
Thank you. Long journey.
Today is momentous.
Hi, I'm Marika. Lovely to meet you, Brad. Welcome to the National Gallery.
It's our team.
Lovely Lovely to meet you. Come right this way.
After 2 years of negotiations, the gallery has brought the 3 bronze charm statues out of storage for the team to see.
Incredible.
Oh, finally. Amazing, right? Beautiful.
And look at the flower, amazing, right? The flower is so beautiful, right?
When I can see how beautiful this statue, I don't know how to describe my feeling, but I am so lucky I can see the real one in here.
Seeing the statues reminds the team of the looters, who took these treasures but always regretted it.
So I think it just brings back so many memories for us. We went 6, 7 times to research, to pinpoint the exact location, and to gather many, many stories.
What do you think the Falcon would make of this, Brad?
I think he would cry like us. And it gives a lot of meaning to our work.
I followed this team from a rice field in Cambodia to Canberra for these statues. And not only did they get to see them today, the National Gallery of Australia has agreed to give them back.
But serious questions remain about how the gallery acquired the statues back in 2011.
Hello, Mazoe, nice to meet you.
Nick Mitztovich is the gallery's current director.
What provenance information did Douglas Latchford provide the NGA?
Well, Douglas Latchford did provide us with the provenance history, and the provenance history stated that it was exported from Vietnam, not Cambodia. Vietnam didn't require export licenses. It would then move to a private collection in Hong Kong, then to a London collection. The National Gallery knew the private collector to be dead, and so there was really nothing further to explore there. There were no red flags with Latchford at the time, and so the gallery did accept the provenance that was provided to us.
Douglas Latchford did ask the NGA to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Why was that?
I really haven't got to the bottom of why. He did say to the National Gallery so he could provide the history of the object to us in confidence.
Was that not a red flag?
It seems obvious now, but we took people on face value, and certainly that's not appropriate today.
Later that day, a ceremony to right a historical wrong.
Thank you for joining us today for an important moment, the first handover and repatriation of a Cambodian work that we've had here at the National Gallery and in Australia.
The statues are blessed, marking a new beginning. Cambodia's ambassador, Chin Boron Chambarai, formally receives the statues, but they won't return home just yet. They'll stay on loan at the NGA for 3 years, but there'll no longer be any doubt about where they came from and who they belong to.
I think we are seeing a trend that's going to continue in the next 10, 20 years where many, many objects are going to go back to their rightful owners. We have an enormous amount of detective work to do, and we have so many clues now. And every day we're getting more. So a lot more to come.